Skylum released its second free update for Luminar AI. It's got a number of enhancements into it, some bug fixes, and a new feature, or at least an update to one of the premier features that's inside of it. So why don't we go ahead and take a look and see what's inside. Hi, my name is William Beem. I am a portrait photographer in Central Florida. If you're new here, I do reviews and tutorials on photography software, so welcome. And if you've been here before, thanks for coming back. I really appreciate you. All right, so we've got just a few things that I want to show you. There's three major things that happened in Release 2, which I think it's version 1.2 of Luminar AI. For those of you who own this product, it is a free update. For those of you that don't own it, I've got a coupon code down below. Also, I've got a course, so if you buy the software from me, I'll give you the course for free. Details are going to be in the link below. Now, what we have here is the long-awaited reflections update to AI Sky. Basically, if you did it before, you got maybe a minor reflection in water or some reflective surfaces. Now it is much better. So we'll show you how that works. There is a wonderful update to textures, and I can't wait to show you some of those things. And also, if you like using the templates, which of course you do, there's some easier ways to navigate there, and just it's a better experience overall. There's a number of bug fixes. I'm not going to go into all of those, but let me show you those three major things that I just mentioned. All right, so we talked about the reflections. I've got a photo here, and typically it's supposed to be water reflections, but I found it works on other reflective surfaces. So I've got a boring sky up here and a boring reflection below. The things that are already in the reflection should stay in the reflection. That's something that you want to keep in mind depending upon how you replace the sky. And I'll show you an example of that in a moment. But let's start off with this one. We can go over here to AI Sky. You see where it says Sky Selection. And you can pull down this little drop down over here. And it'll show you all skies, which you can open this up and you can see different types of skies. So let's see what happens if we pick sunset. And there's a few options over here. I kind of like this one, so we'll go ahead and open that up. So once Luminar gets done processing, you can see we have our sky up here, and you can see the same clouds reflected below. You can tweak that a little bit. So let me close this. And on the reflection, you've got a reflection amount. This is probably one of the first things you may want to look at. And if it's not enough for you, you can pull this all the way up. If it's too much, you can pull it down. And you can notice right in this area down here, as I pull this up, you can see how that kind of builds up and the reflection comes in. Obviously, you have a few things where you can change this. You can change the horizon line. So, for example, if these trees over here were not doing quite what you wanted, maybe the sky reflection you had was a bit above it. You see over here, we've got the helicopter. Who knows? I don't know if that's a military helicopter or if that's Marine One. But in any case, we can change our offset. We can rotate the sky. We can easily flip it with this little checkbox. So if I want to change it over here, and we can, depending upon maybe if there's a sun in your sky, you may want to flip it. And notice how the reflection kind of flips along with it. And so does the helicopter in the sky. Interesting. So you can change the rotation. We'll just kind of do a little zigzag over here. And as we do that, the helicopter's flying in different places. I had no idea there was going to be a helicopter in the sky. We can do a little bit of offset on the horizontal and also on the vertical. So you can play around and just kind of get the part of the sky that you really want. That tells you you don't have to just accept the sky the way it shows up by default. You can go ahead and move some of these things around to get the best result for the photograph that you have. There's a reflection down. I want to go into a couple of the other things. So scene relighting. You've got something over here, relight human. I don't have a person in my photos right now, but you can go ahead and change the strength of the lighting. If you had a person, what this does is kind of moves the lighting around on the person so it matches the sky and the light source that you have. You can change the saturation. So if you just need to add a little bit more saturation to your scene lighting, you can do that as well too. Let's close that. You still have some of the old tools. If your background should be out of focus, you can defocus the sky. Kind of gives you that tilt shift look in a way, or making this look kind of like a toy rather than the Capitol. You can add grain. I'm not a big fan of grain, but I do understand that some people like it and need it. And you can see how it's making some noise up here. If you're looking for kind of an old-fashioned look, you can also add some atmospheric haze. So if you need to have some fog in your sky, you can bring that in. And of course, you can warm up or cool down your sky, depending on what you need. And this one I think is really handy is the brightness. Sometimes the sky just needs to be a little bit brighter to go with your subject. Sometimes it needs to be a little bit darker. So that is a quick look at how you can get reflections now with your AI Sky. But I told you that I wanted to caution you about something. So let's go back to the catalog. And I'm going to choose a different image. This one over here. And let's go edit that. And here's what I'm talking about. You see this line here? Well, obviously, that's a reflection from the sun that's in this sky. As I said before, things that were inside of your water are still going to be there, just like the reflection of the Capitol was still there. So if I come over here and choose a different one, let's say that I want a bright blue sky. Let's choose this one. The reflection is definitely changed on the water, but this part that was still part of the reflection is still there. And that's something you want to keep in mind. So you may be able to mask that out, but that's just something that if it was inside of your reflection before, it's likely still going to be there. So not every photo works exactly as a complete reflection on the water. And you wouldn't want it to. Like I said, with the building that we just showed with the Capitol building, you expect to see that. If you had mountains over here, you'd expect to see the reflection of the mountains. Well, the sun was over there. We've taken the sun away, but the reflection is still in place. So when you're choosing a sky and you've got a reflective surface, keep in mind what you have in there. If there's something reflecting from the sky, like this sunlight, it's still going to be there when you change things out. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at what we've done with textures. You go over here and select local masking and add texture. First thing, for those of you who like to do watermarks, you're going to really love this feature. But let's go ahead and load up a texture. And I've got some light leaks in here. So I'm just going to select this one. I'm going to say open. And now I want to place texture. When you click on place, you get a bounding box. You might be able to see the white line over here. And I've got a little hand. I can move this around. And you see down here with the bounding box, I can make this smaller if I want to. I can move it around wherever I want to. And also, I can turn it. So depends on what you have and what you're trying to do. But you can go ahead and turn this. And I'm just going to make this maybe just a little bit smaller so I've got the bounding boxes kind of within easy reach. And I'm deliberately putting it over the gentleman's face. So you can see how the color on his face where that bounding box is that. I'm going to hit return. And I don't want to have that there. So we're going to come over here to settings, blend mode, and I'm going to change this down to lighten. We can change the opacity of whatever's in there, make that bigger. We can change the brightness. And since this is a black and white photo and I added this later, I don't really want that color in there, so I'm just going to bring the saturation down. That's just a nice thing for adding something in there. If you've got some transparent images, you can do some really wonderful and interesting stuff now with that and a quick blend mode. Now let's add another texture. And in this case, we talked about doing watermarks. Let's go ahead and do some watermarks. Okay, I have to show this as a list so I can get the ones that I want. You notice I've got a number of my logo watermarks over here, some high res, some low res, some black, some white. You probably want to get black and white, and I would say go with high res for working with this. And so I want HRES white. I'm going to hit open. And there's my watermark. So let's go ahead, place texture. Again, that gives us the bounding box, so we can resize this and also change the angle if we need to. And I use a very large watermark. I think about 3,000 pixels is what I have in my watermark. So let's say I bring this down here, place this in the lower side. I'm going to go ahead, hit enter, and let's turn the opacity up. And also, you can brighten your watermark if that's what you want to do. There's something else you can do. Keep in mind, you have a mask up here. So you can go ahead and select your mask and just kind of dab your watermark. And kind of change the look of it. So in this way, it looks kind of like it's got almost like a little bit of a spotlight on it, and it's kind of emerging out rather than just having the whole thing being bright all the way across. It's a little thing, but it's just a different technique if you want to do that. Now, the other thing you can do if you want to, I wouldn't necessarily do it with this in here, but if you have your watermark where you want it, you can come down here and save that as a preset. So that gives you something that you don't have to go back and resize it all the time. You could make a few presets. You can make one with your watermark on the left or the right. You could go ahead and get some vertical ones and put them there. Also, you could probably get some with a black logo and a white logo, whatever works for your signature, if that's what you want to use. But I think that's just a really nice touch. It is so much easier than the previous method we have of placing watermarks on photographs. So if you have some PNG files, transparencies with your watermark, it's that simple to go ahead and add them in there now. The last thing I want to do is go over and take a look at templates. And this seems like a little thing, but it was very important to some people that didn't have a trackpad. And you notice that there's little arrows over here now. It used to be that you had to have a trackpad or you had to have a key and mouse combination, if your mouse worked that way, to scroll sideways. Well, now, if you need to, you can just go ahead and click these arrows and move side to side on what we have. You can check your templates very easily and go back. And also now, you've got this little section. Quickly and easily get to your favorites, get to your templates, any purchase templates that you bought, and of course, legacy templates that may have come over from previous versions of Luminar. So overall, I think it's just a nice little user interface. The other thing I like, this is just one quick little feature. If you want to get back to your catalog, you might be in here and say, let me look at that. You're not necessarily in edit, but you want to get back to the grid view, just click catalog, and it takes you right back. It's a very easy way to get there. That's all I have to share right now for the second update of Luminar AI. Remember, if you have Luminar AI, this is a free update. You can go over to the Luminar menu, pull that down, and you'll see something that says check for updates. It'll probably show up as soon as you launch Luminar AI. So it's out and available now. That's how I got my version of it. If you like this video, please go ahead, click the like button. That tells YouTube if I'm doing something right, and maybe they'll show it to a few more people. It helps the channel grow a little bit. Also, if you want to learn more about Luminar and you'd like a guided curriculum, I've got a course. It's called Luminar AI Elements. I'll put a link below, but go to williambeem.com/courses, and it is going over every single thing inside of Luminar AI. And now I've got to update it because Skylum just put some more stuff inside of Luminar AI. Thank you so much. I'll see you again in the next video.